Believe you can, and you're halfway there. But what if belief is just an illusion? The mind is everything, what you think you become. And what if your thoughts are dark? Life is 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we react to it. But what if your reactions are always wrong? The only thing that stands between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. And what if you have neither? You must do the things you think you cannot do. And what if you were right? It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. But what if there is no light? Don't let yesterday take up too much of today, when yesterday is all you have. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. And what if you can't move? You are confined only by the walls you build yourself. And what if those walls are your own mind? Change your thoughts and you change your world. But what if the world refuses to change with you? If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. And what if your goals are unreachable? You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. What if it all just runs out? Don't wait for opportunity, create it. But what if all your creations crumble? The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. But what if you lose yourself completely? The purpose of our lives is to be happy. And what if happiness is a lie? The most valuable thing you can make is a mistake. You can't learn anything from being perfect. What if the mistakes destroy you? Imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, and it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. But what if your ridiculousness isolates you? What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. And what if you become someone you don't like? The only source of knowledge is experience. And what if your experiences are consistently traumatic? The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. But what if your attitude is a symptom, not the cause? The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. But what if your best is never enough? You are what you repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. And what if your habits are self-destructive? If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. But what if the truth is too painful to bear? The only way to achieve the impossible is to believe it is possible. And what if belief is just a coping mechanism? The greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. But what if they're right? You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. And what if you're paralyzed by the fear of doing anything? The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. But what if the old keeps haunting you? The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And what if you're too broken to do anything? The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. But what if you've already become like them? The most wasted of all days is one without laughter. And what if laughter feels like a betrayal of your pain? The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. But what if you feel useless and dishonorable? Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. And what if reality is a nightmare? You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. And what if the defeats have already broken you? The only way to get rid of temptation is to yield to it. And what if yielding destroys you? The greatest wealth is to live content with little. But what if you're content with nothing? The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. And what if you just stop caring? The best way to cheer yourself is to try to cheer somebody else up. But what if you're too empty to give anything? The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. And what if you're trapped in a cycle of ignorance? The best way to predict your future is to create it. But what if you're afraid of what you'll create? The only true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And what if your imagination is filled with horrors? The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. And what if they betray you? They tried to bury us. They didn't know we were seeds. But what if the soil was toxic? Not all those who wander are lost. Some are just running from their own shadows. The best revenge is massive success. Or is it just a hollow echo in an empty room? We accept the love we think we deserve. And sometimes we deserve so much less than we settle for. The past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it, or learn from it, or just get stuck in its endless loop. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or just leaves you permanently damaged. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But what if every shot just misses? Life is what happens while you are busy making other plans. And sometimes life is a cruel joke. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. But what if you're forced to do what you hate? The truth will set you free, but first, it will piss you off, and then leave you utterly alone. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. But what if the smiles were all lies? To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Or is it just a lonely battle? Sometimes the questions are complicated and the answers are simple. And sometimes there are no answers at all. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. But what if those dreams turn into nightmares? You must be the change you wish to see in the world. But what if the world doesn't want to change? Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear, or just more fear. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. But what if you can't get back up? The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. And sometimes those doubts are justified. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, or led to a dead end. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down, including your memories. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. And what if your heart is broken? In 3 words, I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. And sometimes that's the worst part. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. But what if you're too tired to rise? You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending, or just create a new kind of chaos. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself, and the things that cause it. Life is really simple, but we insist on making it complicated, because simple truths are too painful. The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. But what if the thoughts are inescapable? Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. And sometimes you're too broken to act. It is not the strength of the body that counts, but the strength of the spirit. When your spirit is crushed, what then? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. But what if the soil is poisoned? A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But what if that step is off a cliff? You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. Even if the game is rigged, the only way to do it is to do it. And what if you're paralyzed with fear? Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. But what if the courage runs out? The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. And sometimes they're right. It's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. But what if those years are filled with pain? If you can dream it, you can achieve it. But what if your dreams are shattered? The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing, and that knowing is a heavy burden. The best way to predict the future is to create it. But what if you create a monster? The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. But what if we're incapable of change? You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. But what if your dreams are haunted by the past? The greatest mistake you can make in life is to be continually fearing you will make one, and then you make it anyway. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. And what if you run out of ways? The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. But what if you're lost and don't know who to be?